Hello, welcome to the live. So today is my January reading wrap up. Oh my goodness. Which are these? All these books. So what I'm going to do is just like my last live where I'm going to go through and just first explain these in maybe like one or two sentences briefly. And then if you're watching this on the replay, then you can just like scroll to fast forward to the book that you're interested in, or you can listen to all of it. That works too. So I have 2, 4, 6, 8, 9. So TLDW, too long, didn't watch. Here we go. First one, Chlorine Sky by Mohogany L. Brown. This is a poetry, young adult, about the disillusion of a friendship breakup. The next one is Flamer by Mike Curato. This is a young adult? Hold up. Yeah. Young adult fiction graphic novel. And it's LGBT. The next one is Sometimes Therapy is Awkward, a collection of life-changing insights for the modern clinician by Nicole Artz. This is a book written by a therapist for therapists about being a therapist. Yeah. The next book is The Midnight Library by Matt Haig. This is an adult fiction about a person who ends up in a library that's in between life and death. The next one, Pilu of the Woods by Nguyen. Super cute. This is a graphic novel about grief and loss and feelings, and it's for ages 8 to 12. The next one is Ace, What Asexuality Reveals About Desire, Society, and the Meaning of Sex by Angela Chen. This is an adult nonfiction about asexuality. The next one is The Best We Could Do by Thi Bui. This is an adult graphic memoir about the author's experience being a refugee from Vietnam. The next one, Anxiety, I'm So Done With You, A Teen's Guide to Ditching Toxic Stress and Hardwiring Your Brain for Happiness by Jodi, Aman, LCSW. This is self-help about teen anxiety for teens, therapists, parents. And the last one is DBT, Therapeutic Activity Ideas for Kids and Caregivers by Lozier, LCSW. So this is a book for clinicians on how to do DBT, which is dialectical behavioral therapy with children ages 6 to 12. So that was the TLDW. So I'll get into longer descriptions of these books. I actually liked all of these books. This is probably the first month where I'd like highly recommend all of these, and it was actually pretty cool to read books of different genres. So Chlorine Sky, a novel by Mohogany L. Brown. This was actually sent to me by Crown Books for Young Readers, which was super exciting. This is the first book I've received from a publisher, from Phoebe Ye. So thank you, Phoebe and Crown. So this book was really, really interesting. If you are a book reader, if you follow a lot of YA profiles on Instagram, you've probably seen this like beautiful cover. So this book is a story in verse, meaning that it's like pretty much a poetry, and it's a story about the main character, and it centers around the breakup of a friendship, like a best friendship. And I felt like this book was really cool because there aren't, I don't know, know. I think I need to do more searches to see like how many other books out there for teens that are mainly centered around friendships. But being a teenager, like friendships, and especially like best friendships, are everything. So when that goes awry, then it just feels absolutely terrible, and it's like earth shattering. So this is a story about that, about the main character and the disillusion with her best friend. But it also includes other relevant topics like rumors, first relationship, first kiss, self-identity, and finding yourself. The character is also a basketball player, which is really cool. But yet, even within that, there's just there's some conflict being like a woman basketball player, and just like the expectations or not that come with that. But yeah, so I would highly recommend this book. It was really, really good. The author's amazing, and so I'm definitely gonna check out the author's other work. So this is Chlorine Sky, a novel by Mohogany L. Brown. The next one was given to me by someone who said, please read this. And that is Flamer by Mike Curato. Very thick graphic novel. It's for ages 14, I believe 14 to 18. And I will say reading this, like, it is definitely more for like the older teens or adults. And it's really amazing. I think the illustrations are great. And so essentially the main character is at camp. It's like a kind of like Boy Scouts type of camp. And the character is also coming to terms with his sexuality. So there's topics of that. Bullying. There's some like bullying stuff in here, and also faith. So I'll read you a little bit of the back. It says Aiden Navarro is away at camp. Everyone's going through changes, but for Aiden, the stakes feel higher. As he navigates friendships, deals with bullies, and spends time with Elias, a boy he can't stop thinking about, he finds himself on a path of self-discovery and self-acceptance. TW, there is also themes of suicidal ideation within this as well. But so I felt like this book was really, really good. I think it combines a lot of good elements, whether it's LGBT, mental health, coming into yourself, self-acceptance, and it also has components of faith, specifically Catholicism. So that is Flamer by Mike Curato. The next one is Sometimes Therapy is Awkward, a collection of life-changing insights for the modern clinician by Nicole Artz. So the author of this book is a therapist and also has the Instagram famous Instagram profile psychotherapy memes, which are like really hilarious, especially if you're a therapist. So I really like this book. This is a book I actually wish I had when I was a trainee and intern, especially like starting out as like a newer clinician. There's so much more that extends further than, you know, what we learn in graduate school. And I felt like this is very much very clear, concise, upfront, and real. And I think whether you are a new therapist or not, I think it'd be great to read this. And I think some clinical supervisors could benefit from reading this as well. So there's a lot of really good stuff within here. Coping with insecurities, improving clinical skills, navigating the workplace, setting healthy and effective boundaries, managing burnout and compassion fatigue, understanding mental health treatment in the modern world. So that is Sometimes Therapy is Awkward by Nicole. The next one I got because I saw it like a million times on Instagram. So this is one of those ones that definitely Instagram made me buy. And I got it from a local bookshop here in Orange County called Arvita in Tustin, California. So This is The Midnight Library, a novel by Matt Haig. So I've read one of his other books. He's written multiple other books. The one I read was Reasons to Stay Alive. So the author has experienced suicidal ideation, almost went through and actually he had the intention to die at one point. So that's what the whole Reasons to Stay Alive book is about. It's more like his story. And so I kept seeing this on Instagram and even YouTube with the booktubers, and the cover is beautiful. And so essentially what the story is, without giving it away, is the main character ends up in the Midnight Library, in a library, which is pretty much kind of this place that's between life and death. And it's through there that the character does some reviews and immersions, and you know what things may have been like if certain things in their life were different. And I think that's relatable. Some people may wonder, like, what would it be like if, you know, this one particular thing in my life was different, or maybe even regrets. And so the character in this book, you know, goes through all those scenarios. This book touches heavily on mental health and mental illness, depression, as well as TW, trigger warning for suicide and suicidal thoughts. So this was really interesting. I got through this. If I combined all the days that I've read this, I think I read this in like 2 or 3 days. I read it pretty quickly, just because it was the way it was done and described was really, really interesting. And then of course it's so heavy on mental health, mental illness, that I was definitely hooked. So that is The Midnight Library by Matt Haig. The next one, super cute book. So this is Pilu of the Woods by Mai K. Nguyen. And this is a graphic novel for ages 8 to 12. And the illustrations in this book are really good. Really, really good. So there's a character upset. So this book touches on grief and loss, and also a child learning how to manage or what to do with all the different emotions that they experience. It is for young readers, so I always like how there's symbolicism, but yet like it's really concrete. There's parts in here where, let's see if I can find it. This is what I love about like books for youth, is that they take an adult topic and put it in like a symbolic form. And so with these are like the emotions, the emotions that the child's experiencing. And then also, let's see if I can find that. Where'd it go? I can't find a picture of it. But anyway, there's also like jars. So it's like, oh, here we go. Bottling up emotions. So the character ends up meeting someone who helps her make sense and kind of manage and learn what to do with all the emotions that she's experiencing. So this book was really good. It's really well done. The illustrations are amazing. And it also talks about family. There's some bullying stuff in the beginning as well, sibling stuff. So I highly recommend this. This is Pilu of the Woods by Mai K. Nguyen. The next book, I also saw a lot on social media, and that is Ace, What Asexuality Reveals About Desire, Society, and the Meaning of Sex by Angela Chen. So this book, this cover is like amazing. So this book is about asexuality, which is something that a lot of people are not familiar with. I mean, there's a lot of misconceptions when it comes to asexuality. Even me, myself, reading it, I felt like I learned a lot of really great information and like more clarity too about asexuality. And so the author is asexual and also did interview others within the asexual community for this book. So I'll read you like a tiny bit of it. just so you can like see. This isn't like a spoiler or anything. It's just kind of like more informational. Aces can find people beautiful, have a libido. They can be in relationships of all kinds. Sexual attraction is not sex drive. Some aces have a libido and some don't, but we all share the lack of sexual attraction, and most of us have low desire for partnered sex. Asexuality is about who you're sexually attracted to. No one. This book was really, really good. I think pretty much everyone should really, really read about this. There was some really interesting stuff too, especially when it came to like gender or like assigned sex at birth and like males and like their experience being asexual and like the demands or the expectations or like just confusion or misconception. I think that, especially because some may think like, okay, males, like you're like highly sexual, there's what people view men to be within relationships and sex, and but what happens when the male is asexual. So this book does provide information on that, and I really liked this book. I really, really did. So this was Ace by Angela Chen. The next one, I've had on my TBR for a while, and I finally got it, and I'm glad I did. It's The Best We Could Do by Thi Bui. And this is an adult graphic memoir about Thi and her family's experience immigrating here from Vietnam. And this is definitely adult. There are some themes in here which are real life themes, but there's like kind of that. I'm so amazed with the illustrations, and so yeah. So essentially, this book covers Thi's family journey from their war-torn home in Vietnam to the new lives in America, exploring the anguish of immigration, the lasting effects that displacement has on a child and her family. When I read this, I think the story alone, but then also combined with the visual illustrations, I'm just it was I was very blown away at times, just what her family and many others too have gone through to come here, to America. I think immigrant refugee stories should very much be highlighted. They're super important, and this book was amazing, and it's pretty heavy duty. It's thick, but it's wonderful. I put this one up with Saigon by Phuc Tran. That one's not a graphic memoir, but just more like an adult, a texty memoir, also about him and his family's experience immigrating here from Vietnam, being a refugee. So this is The Best We Could Do by Thi Bui. The next one, love the title, Anxiety, I'm So Done With You, A Teen's Guide to Ditching Toxic Stress and Hardwiring Your Brain for Happiness by Jodi, Aman, LCSW. So this is be more in the self-help realm. There is a lot of education and also different prompts and exercises to do. So this is obviously for teen anxiety. Parents can also read this. There is a special section in the back dedicated to caregivers on what they would be helpful for them to know as far as their teenagers' anxiety. And I felt like this was really, even the illustrations, it was really well done, really clear and concise. Here's just the exact things to know when it comes to anxiety, and some exercises and coping skills and different things to do to move through anxiety. So highly recommend this. This was really good. And FYI, this author will be on the podcast too in the future. So this is Anxiety, I'm So Done With You by Jodi, Aman. The last one is DBT Therapeutic Activities for Kids and Caregivers by Lozier, LCSW. So DBT is dialectical behavioral therapy, which is essentially, I have the creator's memoir up here, Marshall Leinen, created it for adults, but the author of this book is also a clinician, has been working with kids for like 30 plus years or so, and is actually advanced trained in dialectical behavioral therapy, and amongst other books created this one, and this is for clinicians. So this is really cool because this is literally a workbook for clinicians on how to do DBT with kids ages 6 to 12 and their caregivers. So I felt like reading this, it helped me understand DBT a little better because DBT is very structured. All the books I've read were very just like so much information. But this is very, very concise as well as applicable. So there's little handouts too to give to the kid and caregiver. There's also how to introduce, like the directions, how to introduce the different skills for the kid and caregiver. And it does in the beginning go over the 4 modules of DBT. So I felt like this was like really user friendly and also like helpful. I mean, a lot of times as therapists, sometimes we're like, well, how do we take the theoretical information and like put that in the room? Like, how do you make something like DBT, like that's really complex, and like apply it to your client without just like re-saying the words that you just learned? So this helps with that. And Carol is on the podcast. I just haven't released the episode yet. February 9th, I'm going to release the episode where we talk about this book, and she also talks about DBT and her experience. So definitely look forward to that. It was a pleasure to have her on. So yeah, so these are the books. If you hopped on late. Oh my gosh. I'm like trying not to drop this. Here we go. These 9 books. So hopefully this was informative or helpful. If you want to, you could also bookmark or save this video so you can relook at it later in case you see a book that you know. And FYI, I am in the process of figuring out how I'm gonna go about having like a list on my website of the books that either I recommend, that I've had guests of, or that I've talked about on the lives. I'm figuring out how to go about putting that on the Books Between Sessions.com website. So that is coming in 2021. And what else? So I'm in the process of composing the February Instagram Live. For sure, African American History Month is February, so that's going to be a for sure one. And then I'm also considering teen dating violence awareness, because that's also for February. So maybe those 2 monthly observances. As always, there will be a February reading wrap up. I am doing a ton of like recordings this month, and I have actually been for the past 3 weeks. So if I've been a little quiet, that's why. That's also why I've been reading so many books. But yeah, so there are going to be a lot of guest episodes. It's actually probably going to be predominantly guest episodes for 2021. So there's going to be at least 1 episode per month. Depending on how this goes, there may be 2. We'll see. The podcast has generated a lot of interest, which I'm loving. And so if you have any books that you would like to be on the podcast, send me a message, like send me a DM and let me know. That way, if I haven't read it, I can read it. And then if I approve it, I'll reach out to the author. If you are an author of a book that contains mental health or mental illness topics, of all different genres. You don't have to be a therapist. Send me a message or fill out the form on booksbetweensessions.com, the be on the podcast form. That way we can connect and get started. I can let you know what that process is. But yeah, I do really want to, like, I'm super, super motivated for 2021 for the podcast. And I'm really excited that I've managed to even get some guests to be on where I'm like, oh, I'm a fan. I'm going to be on. It's great. So I'm super excited. And yeah, so hopefully you have a good rest of the week. Thanks for watching this live. Maybe you found your next book. And yeah, so take care.